I just was reading up on a Zoom Room, which is a dog training franchise. They
Yeah.
had some trouble. They were growing, they were picking wrong franchisees and growing without a plan. And they had ended up doing a 2-year moratorium on sales of franchise locations.
Incredible. That's an incredible story, though. Look at that right there. Started franchising in 2009. They made some bad deals, right? We picked the wrong franchisees and we're growing without a plans. By 2016, they only had 10 locations. That's 7 years. That's only a few new locations. They had stores that were closing, right? They went from 14 down to 10. They get a new CEO who goes in. He does a 2-year moratorium on sales. What he did is he built a support team, brought on a VC partner, and improved unit economics. I love
Yeah.
this story.
Mm,
Where are they at now? Now they're at 45.
yeah.
Like, what a cool story.
We need to have that guy on the podcast. Sounds
Let's
like
reach
he
out to
knows
him.
what he's doing. Yeah.
I love this. And they were like, we're not going to sell anything until we fix this. You know?
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale, grow, get up, go, scale, grow, get up, go.
I'll have to message this clip to Van Wy. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And then they have big aspirations. They want 2,000 locations one day.
Like you got to really have happy franchisees to facilitate like actual growth, like
Yeah.
strong growth. If you don't have happy franchisees, like eventually something's going to fall apart. So you really need to focus on the unit economics because that's what makes a happy franchisee, right? And if you can do
Yeah.
that, you should get
Yeah.
to a good place.
And it's a
talked
really
to
good
Ray.
sign.
Oh, go ahead.
Go on. No, fire.
I've noticed two things. One, there's two reasons where like the franchisee becomes unhappy, right? One is, the biggest one is lack of financial performance, right? It's just unit
Yeah.
economics aren't working. That's the worst case scenario, and in that case, the franchisor needs to dedicate a lot of resources to try to fix that problem. The second one is actually the opposite problem. It's growing really quickly and then taking the franchisor for granted, right? Like, and I'm not saying this always happens and they're not always wrong about it, but it's kind of like, oh, this wasn't that hard. I'm making tons of money. I could have done this on my own.
Yeah. The 6 stages of franchisee to franchisor relationship is usually a part of everyone's journey as a franchisee is at some point they're like, well, shoot, maybe I could have just done this by myself. But eventually, as they get through that stage and into the next ones, they get to the final stage, which is like franchisee and the franchisor are in this together. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to get to where we got to. And similar from the franchisor's perspective, without the franchisee, we wouldn't have been able to grow our entire enterprise. So, like, I think everyone has that thought in their head as a
Mhm.
franchisee of like, could I have just done this myself? And yeah, they probably could have, but I think it always comes back to like, how long would that have taken? Would you have known what systems to use? Would you have lost a lot of money along the way? Would you have lost a lot of time along the way? Would you have added headaches along the way? They look back at it as just like, oh, I could have done it by myself. But like, yeah, anyone could do it by themselves. But, and there's a big but in there that you have to consider.
Yeah, definitely. It feels kind of easy for the
Yes.
franchisee. That
Yeah.
means kind of you've done your job, that things are like pretty smooth. And I don't think they know how much goes into facilitating the world where that feels easy because
Yeah.
anytime you're starting your own business, like everything is hard, whether it's finding insurance or, filling out information and content or building a brand or all this stuff is like grueling. But when you do it, when someone's giving you the system, yeah, it feels easy. And it makes you feel like I could have done this. And some of them could have, right? So maybe some people could they'll work hard, get it done or whatever. But you said 6 stages of, I've never heard that term. Is it, what are the 6?
Yeah. Brett, you might have to pull this up. It's actually very interesting and
Love it.
something that I've kind of gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole is to understand which stage my franchisees are in. This is the perfect article.
This is that. Okay.
So the
let's
first
start.
first one is Glee stage. I'll try to give you guys quick rundowns on each of these. Glee stage is, oh my God, I'm just buying into this business. I'm so excited to get this started and running. Okay. Everyone goes through that. Every single franchisee
Yeah.
goes through that stage.
Honeymoon.
Yes. The next one is the fee stage, and you could see the question here that people often ask. Yeah, I'm making money. These royalty payments are really taking the cream off the top. What am
Mhm.
I getting out of my money? And again, typically all of your franchisees go through this. Like, what am I paying that royalty for? What am I actually getting out of it? Am I getting the value out of it? So the franchisee is like, yep, I'm successful. Here I am. I could have done this all myself without my franchisor. Again, it's common for most franchisees to go through this stage. This
Mhm.
is very typical franchisee journey. But I think it's important for like the franchisees to even know these things, because then they know, okay, it's not just me that's going through this right now. This is a typical franchisee journey. And the next step that I should get to after this is X, Y, and Z. And how do I get there faster? Next one is the free stage. So the quote here is, I really don't like all of these restrictions my franchisor is putting on the way I'm running my business. I feel frustrated and annoyed at their constant interference. I want to be able to do my own thing and express my own ideas.
Mhm.
It's because I'm changing systems. I'm making everyone on the same like financial systems. I'm adding a CRM. I'm changing all of these things around. So there's constant interference, and they feel like, why can't I just do it my way, you know? And I think that this in the previous stage kind of go together, but you'll see as you get through this stage, you start getting more franchisee involvement as you get through these.
Mhm.
So next one is the C stage, SEE. The quote here is, I guess I can see the importance of following the franchise systems. So they're starting to open their eyes a little bit of like, okay, I see the value of my franchisor and acknowledge the value of my franchisor support services. I can see that if we did this on our own standards, our own standards would drop and we would lose the things that give us our very own competitive advantage. So they're starting to understand, okay, I do see some of the value. I get why we have to do these things. And then the
Mhm.
final stage, like I was saying, is this we stage where they now finally feel like, okay, we're in this together. We need to work together. I need assistance on some things. They may need my feedback on some things. Like, if we all just work together, it's going to create a stronger relationship. It's going to make us all grow quicker. It comes back to the thought in my head of like, if it takes 2 years to make $100,000, how do we get that to happen in year one
Mhm.
instead of 2 years? And a lot of that is going to come from the feedback you get from franchisees and the implementation that you as a CEO or founder put into your system.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, these are the 6 stages. I actually sent this to all of my franchisees and said, guys, if you didn't know, there's such things as like 6 stages of the franchisee franchisor relationship. I really encourage you to like think about which stage you're in currently and know that it's okay to be in that stage and it's natural for this to happen. These are natural thoughts that are going to come up along the way. But keep in mind, our North Star is this we stage. Like, the quicker we can get to that, the quicker we are all going to be so much happier, so much more successful, move more fluidly, all of these things. So it's a really good exercise to like think about, oh, this franchisee is in this stage and this one's in this stage. And each of those stages comes with different responses that are needed from me, from the CEO. Like, figuring out where they are and figuring out how to get them through that quicker
Mhm.
to me is really important.
I really like that. It's interesting to think about. I think about how quickly some franchisees will go through all these stages.
Hmm.
You might have some that like this is like 2 months, and you have others where they like get stuck at a certain stage for a
Yes.
while. I do think this can skirt some responsibility on the franchisor to think about it this way. Like, I think you have to assume in the backdrop of all these stages that this is a healthy, functional, high value franchise system,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, 'cause some of these stages would be legitimate in certain franchises, right? If they're actually aren't providing the right support, et cetera, et cetera. But I think if this is a valuable franchise with good systems and good support, even assuming all those things, I would think that all these stages would be natural for anyone to go through. And I think they probably apply to any sort of relationship, period.
Yes.
Whether it's a business partnership or a marriage, right? Like as you were talking, I'm like, this is just basic human psychology. When you get like intertwined with somebody else for a long time, like I think all of us can think about these sort of stages in that way too. You know, like
Yeah.
this is any partnership period that you got to get through the I'm doing all the work. Why do I need you? All the way to the end to where we're a team and we're doing this together and we need each other.
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale.